So my first ever social media like page I ever created was actually on MySpace. And of course, a lot of people still don't realize to this day MySpace still exists. The thing of why MySpace was pretty much defeated was the fact that Facebook came along and Facebook just did everything better than MySpace. Just did absolutely everything better. That's why everyone went to it. That's why everyone flocked to the app. Remember when Twitter came along initially and people didn't use it a lot, and then it started to really grow and grow and grow. Took a while for Twitter really to take off, whereas Facebook would just have this instant explosion. But we've seen a lot of social media sites, rise and fall through it, their own decisions or lack of action in some cases. And it's always going to be the case. New apps will come along, maybe replace others. However, what is happening tomorrow is, I think, a first. We are seeing under a US government about to ban TikTok. Why? Because they are concerned about a Chinese company that owns TikTok, or at least the parent only, ByteDance, I think it is the company, because they are owned, by the Chinese government. They are sort of concerned over that, and rightly so. I think there are concerns about China and how China has used and abused that, because there are stories about that. However, what has obviously now happened is that a lot of people use TikTok. A lot of people have used it. And unfortunately, people have gotten paid quite a bit. And then all of a sudden, maybe concerns about, if you have a friend from Hong Kong and, they happen to, their phone, your phone happens to be in close contact with each other. Oops, yeah, bit worrying, bit worrying indeed. For that on a lot of things. This is why I've said before, I have two phones. I have a normal phone, and then I have a phone that is just solely on TikTok. And like I say, when I'm not using it, it's turned off, Wi-Fi off completely. Because, like I say, it's kind of worrying that that can happen. And unfortunately, I know people, from Hong Kong who have, let's say, moved here for, very obvious reasons. So, I'm going to be careful. But, yeah, a very first time I think we're ever going to see this. A lot of people, I think TikTokers in the US are worrying now about their future, especially about their income streams going to be sort of very, very cut off. But this is something that a lot of people thought might not happen, that the 11th hour, it might be sold. There was talks about, I don't know, Bill Gates apparently were going to buy it. But no, so far there has been no, or at least not yet. Who knows? Maybe by the end of the day, suddenly TikTok has a new US owner. Who knows? But I am certainly surprised there is no one capitalizing on this and making again, similar type of app for the US market. But who knows? Maybe there is. But apparently now everyone is going to go to another Chinese app that is basically like TikTok. So, how long before that gets banned? If that becomes really popular, just as TikTok did, how long before that gets banned in America? So yeah, it's sort of a world first for a ban of this nature, of course, to be happening. But it does go into, hitting people's, income streams, because a lot of people have used TikTok to make a whole lot of money, and to sort of, change their, change their lives. So what's of course been happening to some of these content creators? So the BBC actually interviewed some of these, and this is what they had to say. So one creator, Nicole Bloomgard, told the BBC that not being on TikTok would amount now to a significant salary cut. Another, Erica Thompson, said that the educational content on the on the platform would be the biggest loss for the community. And yeah, that again, educational content, again, mm, true, but you can get that content elsewhere. Some users have now been announcing that their content will not be available. Their content will now be available to view next, including now on the Chinese video app Rednote, which has been very little used since by Americans until now. So we'll see. However, Joe Biden's his term is obviously coming to an end. Trump is due to be sworn in as the president on that day. The White House earlier said that it would therefore fall on the incoming president now to enforce the law. Trump has indicated that he is against the ban after initially supporting the move, saying that my decision on TikTok will be made in the not too distant future, but I must have time to review the situation. He also revealed that he has spoken to China's President Xi Jinping and discussed the TikTok and now amongst other issues. Back in December, Trump said he had a quote warm spot for the app as it helped him with the young voters in, of course, the 2024 election. Trump's comments and, of course, U-turn on this stance could be in his first term as president when he aimed now to enact a very similar ban through an executive order. So, maybe Donald Trump might not enforce the ban. Maybe he might, reverse it. Maybe he might pull a U-turn on it. I don't know. You've got to remember, after Monday, the US will just go a bit wacky for the next 4 years. But yeah, that to look forward to, I suppose. But yeah, this is sort of the first time this has ever happened in many ways. An actual government intervening to shut down a platform. And yes, I can see legitimate reasons for this to happen. I do find, the fact that, China, quite an authoritarian government, has been caught using this on a number of occasions to access people's phones illegally. So yeah, that is quite a problem. But it's sad, and I understand it. I understand. I see a lot of people using TikTok. I see a lot of people using some very, very good content. I've seen a lot of people marketing themselves on TikTok and had a lot of success using TikTok to market themselves. So yeah, it's going to be, I think, a sad day for a lot of people in America. Will this similar bans maybe now follow in the UK, maybe in Europe? I haven't heard anything, certainly in the UK, and I don't think at the moment the EU is making any moves against TikTok either at the moment, but who knows? Who knows? But we'll see. We'll see what happens in the future on that. But it is an interesting sort of case study to have a look at and how we got here for a government banning of course TikTok. But as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, let me know what you think down below. And of course, we'll see you all next time.